Hi there, welcome to Living on the Edge with Donna and Frankie. My name is Donna Feazell and this is
Frankie King.
Frankie King. Hi everybody, hope you've had a great day. We've had a busy week with all the snow and all of the ice accumulations and all this kind of great stuff, but we've got a great show in store for you today. We're going to be talking with one of my favorite guests. Her name is Katelyn Worley, and Katelyn is, I'm just going to let Katelyn tell you what she does. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. So I go by Katie Rose is my artist name. I'm a fiber artist, and my main product is hand spun yarn. And these are from my alpacas. I have 12 alpacas at my farm in Flat Rock, Alabama.
Tell me about, I've got to stop you. What about alpacas? Why is this, why are you raising alpacas for the yarn?
Well, my mom...
It feels good.
My mom's actually the inspiration behind the alpacas. She was born in Peru, and she just fell in love with them. She didn't live in Peru that long, but she fell in love with them and had always wanted alpacas. And her dad actually raised merino sheep in the 50s in Flat Rock and kind of developed our farm at that point. But when she retired, she moved back to the mountain and said, I just want to be a farmer and live a more simple life, because she was a nurse before that. So now she has alpacas and chickens and goats, and they're living the dream.
And it definitely is the dream. We live on 38 acres. And, of course, the pond was frozen, so you should have seen birds trying to land inside the pond. It didn't work out. But it's a fun adventure. You know, a lot of city folk are leaving the city, and they're buying land up. And they're all moving here in our area in Sand Mountain.
It's a beautiful area.
It is. I mean, with all the beautiful surroundings we have. And then you're making the land work for you. So talk to us about it.
I absolutely feel like my land has a gift to me, and it's definitely a huge blessing that I feel like I need to take advantage of and use it to benefit the community if I can. My biggest inspiration was my grandmother. Her name's Dr. Pete, and she was a doctor back in the 50s.
Oh, I knew her.
Yeah. And so I hear all these amazing stories about her.
She was my grandmother's doctor, and she actually came to the house to take care of my grandmother.
So when I hear these stories, in the 60s.
It is a small world.
And that's what inspires me. That's why I'm doing this and getting this out there. I can't be like her because I'm not really a caregiver, but I can do something in my own way to reach out to people.
And it's an art, what you have together. And I'm so fascinated about what you do. So you didn't buy this at a department store. You actually made this. So how do you do it?
So once a year, we shear the alpacas. We gather them up, put them on the halters, and put mats down in the barn. And you get 4 ropes, 2 for their legs and their arms. And you pull them and stretch the alpacas out. And then we have a professional shearer, and he shears it off in what's called a
Frankie's looking for
blanket.
a part-time job. She can shear it for you. No problem.
You don't know there's a story
Forget
behind
I
my
said
haircuts. Ronnie's in there laughing right now because I
know
did
he
that to her
is, yeah.
dog once.
Sorry I brought that up, Ronnie.
It was bad.
I owe you one, Ronnie.
Hey, it was this fashionable or stylish, unique haircut.
So you put this together, and it's so tightly wound, though. I mean, it seems, I have bought yarn before, and it would just be so, hard to work with. So this seems like it's really tight wound. Is that what I would say?
Yeah, that's how it's plied. So we can actually open it up here. This is a skein or a hank, so it's different than how you would buy it in the store, but it's a 2-ply. So once I get the blanket, we call it, and you have to wash it and comb it and card it, and then I do 2 single-ply yarns. So I just do 1 of those, and then the last step is plying it, which is that twisting that you're talking about.
Okay, now I've got to, this is a question my grandmother would ask you because she was such a clean fanatic. Okay, so they're living outside, and it looks so clean. So is there some way you clean it?
Well, here's an example. I
just
don't know if you can see it. And you can see the hay in the animal. So
but it's so soft.
It's so soft. So I have several different tools to get all that out. We call it, in the fiber arts business, vegetable matter. So that's hay and poo and dirt.
So poo gets them out.
It can. That's in the seconds and the thirds and the cutting. Not usually on the blanket, but that is something that you have to deal with. And so, yeah, I wash it using Dawn or a scour, a professional scour. And then to get all those out, you have to comb it, which looks like nails, and you comb all that out. And I also have something called a tumbler, which would be the step before washing, which my dad helped me make out of a concrete mixer, and we made a cage, and that just turns it, so you just leave it on, and that gets a lot of it out.
Yeah.
That,
thought I would ask for grandmother.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the first question of all grandmothers. How do you get it clean?
Yeah.
You do an excellent job, and I just like the way it feels. But now you also make beautiful product.
yes, I love to weave.
I'll hold on to this because it just feels good.
So there's an example of sampler weaving. So there's different
Now,
like
do you do
stripes
this with
and
like a
different
spinning
yarns.
wheel? How do you do it?
I use it's called a Cricut Rigid Heddle loom. So it's real simple to use, and it's great for beginners because of price point, and it's just easy. It's easy to warp, and you can do a project in an evening if you really got onto it.
Well, I know you have different colors here, and you talk about a novice. I know nothing about this, but how many of those would it take to do this? Is this a scarf?
That's just my sampler.
See, I would wear it. I mean, I know
you
you
could totally wear it.
So how many?
So the way you
Just
weave,
guessing?
yeah, just guessing. I'd say you could probably do one or two.
Okay.
It might take two. But the way you weave is you have these warp yarns. That's what goes on your loom lengthwise, and then you fill it in with the weft. So then you fill it, and so I would probably use not a hand spun for my warp. I have, but so yeah. But I'd say two would be, you'd be able to get a full scarf out of two, a nice big
have
one.
No reference point.
You know what you're going to be doing next week? We're going to buy you a little spinning wheel. A spinning wheel.
In my part-time.
Spinning wheel.
Do you have a spinning wheel? Is that how you put this together?
Yes, I do. I have several spinning wheels, and I also sell them and teach classes.
Oh, so you teach classes. Okay. And this is done at the farm?
At the farm or at the Boomtown Makers Market in Fort Payne.
Okay.
I have a little studio set up in the back there.
Oh, that's an amazing place, too. And you need to run by it and see. This is all handmade items.
We have over 40 local artists from the surrounding area. There's wood art, paintings, fiber arts. We have our own pinup photographer. She's great. Yeah.
Seriously.
And on all the third Saturdays, she takes pictures. And yeah, we have so much great stuff. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Lydia Randolph.
Oh, I know Lydia.
She teaches painting classes there.
She does a great job.
She does a great job. She does that weekly. And for 2018, we're trying to plan monthly workshops. So we'll keep everyone posted on that.
Yeah, that's great. So you're going to let me know that I'll let everybody out there know about the workshops and who's attending and who is actually teaching.
Absolutely. We keep up with that mostly on Facebook.
Okay. All righty.
And who would they contact to find out about classes?
Either through the Boomtown Makers Market webpage or myself or Darlene Rott. She's always in the know.
Okay.
Everyone knows her in Fort Payne, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Well, it's a great location, too, and great parking. I think you can park behind the facility as well as in front. Is there a daycare center or something close by?
It's across from the Southern real estate properties, and there's a big parking lot there, and then there's one right next to it. There's plenty of parking.
There's plenty of parking. And you can walk a little, this is so funny. People say, oh, I'd have to walk, but then they'll go to a mall and walk miles inside a mall. So easy parking and easy to get to in Fort Payne as well. Fort Payne, Alabama. Okay, now, wow, what's this?
So I also dye fabric and do tie-dye classes in the summer when it's warm.
Okay, tie-dye. You're speaking my language from the 1970s. Tie-dye.
So that's just an example of the different pieces that are just sewed together like in a quilt. And I do t-shirts and fabric and scarves, but I like the cotton fabric a lot because when you sew with it, it really adds a lot of depth. And that's something that I'm working on developing a line of.
And I also see some cotton.
This is some cotton, yes. So this is some that I grew. It was kind of just an experiment this year. I grew Pima cotton and green cotton.
Are there any of those little thorns in there?
Yeah, or not thorns, but the seeds are still in there. I haven't ginned it yet. I'm just gonna do it with hand cards. It's a lot easier.
Well, this is pretty cool. So you grew this. I mean, there's so many things you can do. I mean, just use your imagination, and I like going back to the basics. There's so many things we can do for ourselves. So you're eventually going to plant cotton, and is that another line that you're going to?
Well, I thought about it. I think I'll stick with the fiber animals, though.
That's
just personal use.
That's
later if everything works out.
And then this is beautiful.
That's a hand-painted silk scarf.
Oh, my goodness. That is beautiful. This is something, we were on a missionary trip once in Bolivia, and they taught us how to do this. The paint, and I still have that scarf. I'll have to wear it sometime on the show and let you see it.
Yeah.
But it's such an art form in how they do it. It's beautiful. So did you do this?
I did.
So talented.
Thank you.
So, I mean, regular paint, what kind of paint do you use with this?
We use a professional silk paint from Dharma Trading, and then we do the gutta, which is the white lines, and then you paint in between with the color. So you do the white resist part first.
And fringe is so in style right now. I mean, everything has fringe on it, tassels and what have you. So that's beautiful. How long does it take to do this from start to finish?
That one took a long time.
I know that took a long time to do that as well.
Yeah, that one took a long time. I don't know. I try not to count, because sometimes if you count, then you think about how much it'll sell for, and it's not worth it. But I do it because I love it, not to make money necessarily.
Yeah, and you're teaching an art form too, and you're thinking, and this is a real fact right here. When you're working with your hands, it helps the brain.
I agree, it does.
It does.
And you have your left side of your brain and your right side of that brain, and every time you do something creative or design something or make something, you're building that right side of your brain.
Are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm right-handed, but for me that's just more prominent than some of the more logistics and
Frankie. You left-handed or right? Right-handed. So I'm the only lefty in the group.
You're a lefty.
I so get what she's saying about doing it because she loves it, because that's the way it's with music too.
With everything the three of us do, you got to really like it.
Yeah. I mean, of course you want to sell it, but it's not what it's all about.
Right. But how do you market? There's a lot of people have talent, and you'll go to their house and there's just like tons of inventory, things they've made, but they don't know how to market it. So how would you suggest?
It can be very hard for an artist.
Yeah, but you want to make beautiful things. You're not thinking about marketing.
No, you're not. Not when you're making. What I've done is I go to all the little local yarn shops or different shops that sell art and just ask them if they want to sell my yarn. So I currently have yarn at the Maker's Market. I have some in Mentone at the Hummingbird at Loom. It's a beautiful little weaving shop, and she makes shawls and ponchos and great work. And she has some of my yarn there. And I have some in New Mexico at the Nob Hill when I went there.
Business trip to New Mexico.
So
Write that
I
off on your taxes.
Yeah, I just take my bin of yarn and go to that yarn shop and ask them if they want to sell it. And if they say no, that's fine. And if they say yeah, then it's another outlet.
And that's another thing. It's okay to hear no. I mean, really, it's okay. And I've told you many times, Frankie, I actually like rude customers. I know it sounds crazy, but I want to know, do you want to do it or do you not want to do it? And a lot of times it's just timing. They're just not ready for the product yet. So, then just follow up with them in 90 days or so, and who knows. A lot of times I just want to see if you're going to stick with it, if you're going to keep doing it. So you keep going back, because when folks see this beautiful product you have and all the beautiful things that you have made. Now this one was a little different.
That's art yarn. That's my specialty. So it's called a beehive yarn. You can see the little bubbles in it, and that's real great for weaving, and it's just fun. Or you can knit or crochet, but it's just fun to use because all the texture.
Now, I can crochet, but I can't knit. I've tried. It just seems a little complicated to me. Could you teach me?
I was just about to say, I'm not the best knitter myself. I can crochet. I like the weaving because I don't like to count. So with crochet and knitting, you kind of have to count and plan it out. And with weaving, I can just, after my loom's warped, it's just fun. I can go back and forth. And
Frankie's looking at me like, why are you hoarding all that stuff over there to yourself? I'll let you hold this one.
Now, I wanted to know the last one. What would you make from that?
A headband or a
Kinda like
scarf.
that?
Yeah, kind of like what I got on.
Uh-huh.
A scarf would be great. I have a piece that I wove with that I really want to make a handbag with, but that's just a one-day project.
Are you sure you're not one of my hippie friends from the 70s? Because we wore stuff like that. So it's making a comeback.
I call myself a millennial hippie.
Yeah.
Because I'm a millennial, but I love all the tie-dye and the flower child.
And
I
the
love that.
satisfaction because you made it.
I want to know about the monster.
Okay. So this is a project that's really close to my heart. This is a sock monster, and I have my friend Jen's helping me make them as well, but we're recruiting if anybody wants to help. Zakano socks in Fort Payne, they're the organic cotton socks. They donated some seconds to us and for our yarn bombing project that we had back in October. And we just had a lot left over, so I said, well, I'm going to make a sock monkey. And I did, and it was really fun. And then I was just thinking, well, I have all of these socks, so we decided to make a line of sock monsters. And and what we're going to do is donate one to a child for every one that we sell. So I'm looking for children in need, and if you know anybody, just contact me, or you can contact Donna, and she'll let me know, and I'd be happy to donate some. I think we have about 10 made up, but we have more in the making.
Well, this is kind of cute. This kind of reminds me of a guy I used to date a long time ago. Is that a mohawk, or is he just
It's just a fuzzball.
so cute? Does he have a name?
No, I need to make names.
Fuzzball.
Fuzzball, okay.
You said that. So you put the little buttons and everything on there too. So this is really cute. So you're giving to the community as well.
Yeah, I want to donate one for every one that we sell, so that way I can keep the money to buy materials and kind of support that, and then of course support the market because we are a nonprofit.
That's right. Now, and you do what you love to do. So, and that's pretty. We can see that. That's very obvious. You love to do this. And so, what would you tell someone who's they have a hobby, they're in a job they really don't like? Should they make the plunge, or should they go on ahead and get some experience in doing this, then make the plunge and start making a living? How do you do it? And I'm one of those. I want to jump right out there and do it. So.
Well, I think it's the experience. It's not something you can just do and make a living the next day. I wish it was, but we're not living in a world.
Somebody can just do it right away.
Yeah, we're not living in that world. If you have a little extra support, I'm blessed to have a great husband who's helping me through graduate school while I do this. So it's full time. I got a farm and school, and I work hard, but I don't think that I would have the money to just support myself and pay all these bills without a little help from him and from my family. So definitely get as much experience as you can and reach out and build that clientele and teach. Teaching is a good way to get a little extra, and just keep it in your mind. You know, don't give up your dream ever, but just
lead up to that.
Yeah, lead up to it.
But you just mentioned teaching, and that is a great way to get the word out about your products as well. Are you afraid of people taking away your ideas when you teach in class? Or is there enough ideas to go around?
There's plenty of ideas, I think.
So what did you learn from doing this? Let's say it's 30 years from now, and you have grandkids, and they're saying, how did you get started doing this? Why did you pursue this? Why did you want to get it going?
I feel the biggest benefit is my connection to the past, because I'm making something from nature, and I'm making something that now is only done by machines. Since we're so industrialized and everything's electronic, it's so nice to make and to use our hands, and I always feel like a connection. I think that's the only way to explain it. I have a connection to my past and to my future, because we can't always depend on that technology. I mean, I hope we do, but we don't ever know. And I want to know if something happens, I can take care of myself.
Power could go out, whatever. If the power goes out for a few days, I mean, you have this you can do. You can always stay busy, right?
I'll be warm.
So what would you tell all the young people who are out there? The young people are saying, I like playing with my video games, my cell phone, and all this kind of good stuff. Should they do something like this as well, working with their minds and working with their hands?
Yeah, and there's so many great art forms out there. There's clay, and there's wood, and metal, and painting, and fiber. There's so much you can do. Just find what you like and master it. Just keep practicing, and one day you'll be able to make beautiful things, or you can make beautiful things now, but as you practice, you can refine those skills and really make exactly what you want. Like if I said I want to make a fingering weight yarn, I could do that, or if I want a chunky yarn. And as you continue to do it, you'll be able to distinguish and to build those skills.
And it turns as second nature to you as well. Okay,
Yeah.
now tell us about the farm. I love farms. So walk us through the farm. What do you do every day?
So my mom and dad own the farm, and I just help. I'm just a helper, but every day, so we have 12 alpacas, about 18 goats, 5 cows, 6 chickens, honeybees, and a dog and a cat.
Now, how do you take care of honeybees? Now, honeybees are great. I'm trying to talk Phil into honeybees. Because I'm telling you, he's planted a bunch of trees, fruit trees. And so my idea is, you've got honeybees that are going to pollinate the trees, so that means more fruit as well. So is it hard to raise honeybees?
It's not necessarily hard, but there's a lot of stuff, a lot of research before that you need to know. And
Make
to
sure
know
you're not allergic to
Make sure you're not allergic. Kind of learn about the mites, and we've had trouble with wax moths. So there's pests that
Things
can
I haven't
come.
thought about.
Yeah, it's been hard for us as newbies. We took the Jackson County Beekeepers Club. I joined that, and that's a great resource. But still, sometimes it can be difficult when you're looking in there and you're like, "What am I looking at? Where's the queen?" But
How do you know
trick.
the queen? You have all these bees, but you got to protect the queen, right?
You got to protect. Well, yeah. Usually the hive does that on their own, but the queen's the most important bee, and if she's not there, your hive probably won't do well.
Do you chew the honeycomb?
I do. I like it.
The honeycomb. I think that's the best part of it.
Yeah, it's good.
So
I learned a good trick, though, about finding the queen, which I haven't done it, but I will if I ever get a new queen. If you just put a little dot of paint on it, and then you can always see it when you lift up your frame.
That's a great idea.
That's a cool trick. That's from one of the...
And just choose your color like you choose your colors here.
Yeah, you want it to be something that you can see.
So how many hives do you have?
We just have one. It's just another learning thing, like my cotton. I just want to see if I like it, and I think I like
it. Will. I bet you will. So you're going to bring us some honey.
Yeah.
And local honey is good for you as
Very
well.
good for you. Good for your allergies, and especially the bee pollen, and they have a lot of B vitamins and protein. So
we eat it.
the bee pollen.
Yeah.
Well, we have honey.
Yeah,
and
I love local
actually,
honey.
the local store here has local honey, so we buy that.
Yeah, that is the best.
Why are we having less bees?
Well, there's something called colony collapse disorder, but that's really hard to know what's causing that. So there's so many issues in our environment. We have all the pesticides that are being used. There's tons of chemicals that are being put on our farms, which is one reason why I try to grow my own as much as I can. And just the
we
cities,
do too.
yeah.
She does too.
Yeah, we're into growing our own everything. And there's a satisfaction that comes from that as well. And plus, you're saving a lot of money from the grocery store.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of snobbish about going to the grocery store and I see the tomatoes.
Oh, I know.
And I'm like, it's not going to be the same. And there's nothing like our area tomatoes. We were living in Charlotte, there's nothing. We were living in Charlotte, North Carolina for a few years, and I'll tell you what, I miss those Sand Mountain tomatoes. Even went to the farmer's market, and I was so disappointed. Just there's something about, I don't know, it's the sand, the dirt, something here that grows. You're right. Extra special tomatoes.
They are very good.
They
We
are.
always can our tomatoes.
Let's quit talking about that. I want a tomato sandwich with a bunch of mayonnaise and stuff on it. Salt and pepper as well. So, I mean, I could really eat a meal 3 times a day off a tomato sandwich.
Oh, I could too.
So good. So, do you raise vegetables on the garden, out on the land too? What do you raise?
Just a little bit of everything. I'd like to focus on herbs this upcoming year.
Yes.
I love doing herbs.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of that, like you said, tomatoes, they're so prevalent. I don't really need to grow my own tomatoes. My neighbors will give me bushels full.
Something. Go to another area and where they don't have the tomatoes, and we're just kind of like, tomatoes because we have a lot of them.
Well, I love them, but I'm not going to put my energy on that. I want to put it on something different. So I want to do a lot of herbs and dye plants this upcoming year.
That's good. And, herbs are so good for you. As far as memory, the rosemary is so good.
Rosemary.
So, do you have rosemary now?
Rosemary, I have white sage and garden sage and lavender. And then we do basil every year, of course, and make fresh pesto.
Oh, yeah. That's really good. Yeah, those are herbs that are really good for you. Do you dry yours if you have an overabundance of them? How do you do it?
I just let them sit and then put them in a jar.
Some people will put them in the microwave, and I've heard good and bad about that. So, comment in the section below and let us know if you've done this, because some people say if you put your herbs in the microwave and dry them, it's kind of taking out some of the oils. So, I would like to know what you do. Let us know by responding down at the bottom. You'll find us on YouTube. And so we have about 2 minutes left in this segment. So it's been a good one. I've had a lot of fun. I always enjoy talking with you and what you do, and to be you're such an inspiration, especially to younger people and to older people like me as well. So I'm so glad that you're doing what you like to do. Want to say something to the hubby before we go?
Well, just
thank you for putting up with my mess in the kitchen.
Yeah, being a farmer.
There, I said it for you.
Yeah, it's rewarding and it's a lot of work, but I don't think that the best things in life come easy. So give it your best shot and do what you can. And thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
To meet you.
Thank you again for listening to On the Edge. And we're so glad that you listened to us. Stay tuned next week.